Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Fearless Training Membership United group with myself, as always, Alex Connor, and the latest installment of the Raw Knowledge podcast. This is episode 3, where we talk everything training, nutrition, and lifestyle with some of the industry's best. And a quick side note before we continue with this one, please bear with me on the background noise, the sound, and locations. Working hard to establish a more professional setup, but the main thing is providing the quality and the information to you guys so you can apply it and better help your own results and your training and lifestyle too. Now, today we are talking with Amanda Amy Morgan. A little bit about Amanda. She is a natural health practitioner. She is also a Shredded by Science graduate specializing in physique and powerlifting athletes. She is an NLP practitioner and coach, an aroma touch therapist, an intuitive Balinese masseuse, and a doTERRA essential oils advocate. Amongst that, she's a very down-to-earth and spiritual human being. She's very passionate about the masculine and the feminine principles and inspiring others to return to their own truth and returning to love. Because we are more than just the body, we are the soul as well. I think you'll get a lot out of this one because we delve into some topics which have a more balanced and spiritual approach to the body and the mind, and how we can apply that to better increase our own training and our health and wellness too. So without further ado, enjoy this conversation with Amanda. Guys, and welcome back to the third installment of the Raw Knowledge podcast. And today I'm here with Amanda. Thank you for your time, Amanda. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'd also like to thank you guys, from Alex and myself, for taking the time out to listen, because we know that your time is very precious.
And it is probably the most valuable asset we have.
Yes.
Do you agree?
Yeah, so thank you.
Thank you, guys. Let's start off, Amanda. Now, there's a bit of an intro, but as always, tell us a bit about yourself. How you got into the health and fitness industry, and what you're doing now, and maybe why you do it. Just a bit of a sort of a background and a backstory, if you like, before we get into some more specific questions.
Yeah, that's a good question. So how did I get into the fitness industry? Well, basically it was like I wasn't happy with myself, and it's interesting how we immediately identify with the body, right? And so with that unhappiness, I was like, how can I create a life or a physique or a career that I enjoyed and that made me happy? So I was externalizing my happiness, which I now know that really isn't the answer.
That's to come from within.
Yeah, that's right. But at that stage, that was the start of my journey. So it was then, starting to go to the gym, and then I actually came across a bodybuilder who was competing with Arnie. He was, he would have had to have been in his 70s, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he introduced me to, yeah. So he used to compete with him. And so he introduced me to resistance training. And eventually I decided that a goal was great to aim for. And a good friend of mine, she had just commenced personal training, and she wanted me to be her guinea pig. Yeah, so that's what we did. We decided that I was going to do a competition. And so obviously there's quite a few years involved to get on stage and compete as a physique athlete.
Yes.
But fast forward, and a few comps and a couple of trophies and some wins and some knockdowns and some injuries, I was standing on stage and had won the South Australian State Championship, Bikini Diva. And it was that moment right there that I...
Go for it.
Okay, so it was that moment right there that I, standing on stage with this trophy, I had realised that I'm not this body. There has to be more to this life or this happiness.
So you had like an epiphany?
Yeah. So I was on that stage and I was crying, and everyone's looking at you body. And, you know, there's that pride and that glorifying of the body. And it was in that moment that I realised, that there's just there has to be more, because at that point in time, I'd actually had experienced one of my relationships had completely broken down. And so I'm on that stage and I'm like, this trophy means nothing compared to a beautiful relationship or relationships with self, with life, with other people. So it was in that moment that I realised there was more than that. I wasn't this body.
Like it wasn't just something physical or materialistic, but it was something that almost you can't put into words, something that you can't put a price on.
Yeah.
Like you said, there was something more.
Yeah.
It wasn't just because it is such a physical process, it is such a mental process as well. But I guess at that point in time, it was like, okay, well, it's not just this.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, and thank you for sharing that with us, because I know that can be quite maybe a fragile subject as well, but it's good that you went through that, and maybe that experience exposed you to, you know, change and perhaps where you are now, or what led you on to where you currently are.
Yeah, that's right. So from there, it was diving into a journey of inner discovery. Like, who am I? Why am I here on this earth, on this ground? And what is my purpose? What am I here to do? Where did I come from? And so throughout that inner discovery or exploration, I began my own healing journey. So
it was like a new chapter, almost.
A rebirth.
Start of a new journey. A rebirth. So describe how would you describe, apart from the obvious, how would you describe your rebirth?
Okay.
Or a rebirth as you've experienced it. So maybe for people watching that they might be able to relate to that a little bit more.
Yeah, okay.
Because I'm sure there's perhaps other people that have gone through this, or they might not be aware, or maybe they're fighting those feelings.
Yeah.
Because we all go through stages in our life, and usually, unfortunately, it's when we go through very stressful situations, whether again it's like a competition or a comp prep, or whether it's a breakup or a relationship derived outcome, which forces us to change or to almost awaken. If I can use that word.
Yes, you can use that word. Yes.
And then again, you for some reason you have a change of direction or something like that.
So you're right. It generally when we're identifying with like the who am I, and I'm not this body. So if I'm not this body, then what am I? And that is, for me, my belief is that I'm a spirit soul. So I'm the soul in the body, and the body is the vessel. And like, what was the purpose of this body, and what am I to do with it, and what is the soul doing there? And that kind of is that, I guess, to get to that realization is generally a traumatic thing that occurs, because sometimes we need to be shaped, we get so caught up in this material,
like superficial, it's almost like would it be fair to say, like, we're caught in like a state, and then we need to be, as you used, shaken, or we need something to take us from that state to another state for us to realize that maybe we were living in one reality, and perhaps that was not completely accurate. So we're living in a world, a material world of conditioning. So we're conditioned to need things, to want things, to just that constant need. So in terms of the fitness industry, it's like, I need to be fitter, stronger, skinnier, musclier, whatever it is that you think you need. And I hear a lot of people say, love yourself. And generally people start to try and love the body. And then the body changes, right? So you've got this goal, and you're striving to love who you are and what your body is now. And then your body changes.
and then you're trying to love that body, and then your body changes again, and then you're trying to love that body, and it's just this constant spin, and you're going nowhere because the body is deteriorating every day. It's deteriorating and changing, so you can't focus on loving the body. So then what? It's about loving the self or the soul.
The element that even, I guess it does change, but it's not, again, it's a misplaced definition. People say, love the self, and again, it's a physical thing, but you have to love who you are and accept you as a whole. And again, peeling back a layer, and like you said, the spirit, the soul, loving that, not necessarily the physical. Like, it's almost like loving a car or an object rather than the manufacturer, or I guess the true entity of where we come from. Because like you said, we are our consciousness and who we are and our personalities and what makes up our traits is not necessarily just how we look.
No.
It's comes from within. So that does make a lot of sense, and I really like a lot of the points you make, and I think this is really important. This is why I wanted to speak to you, because I think a lot of people need to hear this. Because health and fitness is not just about the physical, and as much as it can be, and it is.
Yes, of course.
It has to come from, I'm sorry to segue away from this, but
that's okay.
I think this is a good opportunity to get this across. If you don't do it for yourself, you will never be successful or have the physique that you want, and it will be unbalanced. And again, you will always be doing it for the wrong reasons, and you will never reach, whether we want to call it self-actualization or your best self or your true self, because you will always be doing it again for an external reward rather than an internal one. And like myself, I think many others have gone into health and fitness because of an external. I know I did. But that has changed, and I think that's the fundamental. You need to then do it for yourself, not for just because, hey, I want to look good, I want to impress somebody. It has to come from within. It has to be a true passion and like I said, a self-love or an inner worth to contribute. So again, this is great stuff, because people are getting into it for that reason, and that's okay if that's what gets you in. That's great, but then you need to make people realize that it is holistic. It is more than just one element. It is many combined, which makes ultimately a successful physique athlete, person, human being, etc.
I think what's really important is, like, what is your purpose? And it needs to be more higher purpose than the material world wants to perceive or to portray to us. So wanting a fit, healthy body, there's nothing wrong with wanting something, as long as you have like a higher purpose for it, that it's not for just to look good, materialistically. And even wanting a certain job or millions of dollars, there's nothing wrong with sense gratification, because that's what it is. It's about sense gratification. The human, the vessel, wants to feel things, have things, see things, taste things. And so with self gratification, it's okay to have that. I mean, we are human, we're human. So we're in this vessel, we can still enjoy being human, even though we are the soul. But it's about when you are having sense gratification or wanting something, that it's for a higher purpose. It's for, it means more than just that material object. So if, for example, if it's money, then that could be seen as egotistic or materialistic or something like that. But to help people, you need money. Money is energy. It's energy exchange. So if you want to get a great message out to the people, then you're going to need energy and money to support that. So it's okay to have sense gratification as long as there's a higher purpose behind it. So in the fitness industry, it's, having a fit, healthy body is vital. This is the vessel that's taking care of the soul. So it is a vital thing. It's and there's nothing wrong with wanting to do a competition and step out on stage. it's just like, what is your higher purpose? Like, what is your...
Why are you actually doing it?
Why are you doing it? Yeah.
And I think that's
important.
I think it's vital. I think and it's a great message as well to send out to possibly not only physique athletes, young athletes, or people who may not be young but are coming into the industry.
Yes.
I notice, and you probably do as well, Amanda, a lot of people coming in now are wanting again to do it just for the gratification or the validation of stepping on stage. And now and I say this a lot, and I know females perhaps are more vulnerable to this. Men are too, they just may not show it as much, but you know. Alright, just do some bicep curls. For real. Alright. We're in the Reformer Pilates room. Not that flexible. We're in the Reformer Pilates room because
we had a visitor.
We had a visitor. Started using the rowing machine. That's all right.
Absolutely.
Doing these locations where we can in different ones instead of rather doing it in one location all the time. So as long as it's quiet, so bear with me on that. But the main thing is we're getting great guests and great content to share with you guys that you can help better improve your health and fitness. Might be a little background noise, but you will be able to hear us. So if you feel like having a bit of a jam, go for it. Now, we were talking about the Shred by Science Academy, we were talking about the awakening, take it from the top, whatever it is, or then maybe a message that you want to get out in relation to that. Did you want to chat some more about that topic?
Yeah,
before we move on?
Yeah, I think, do you mean in regards to the Shred by Science Academy, or more around purpose and...
Let's go down more purpose.
Yeah.
And then anything maybe that and then after that, to segue, anything that you've taken out of the Shred by Science Academy, what were the main learnings for you, or the best value that you took out of the Shred by Science Academy?
Yeah, okay. I might actually start there because we were talking about that. So, with the Shred by Science Academy, I think the main takings that I took out of it was like I said, the fact that it was very science-based and holistic about not just the training but also the psychology of what's involved in the fitness industry. But the main takings were that, just having that deep knowledge scientifically and just so much more content and resource than your general PT course. Like, it really bridged the gap between an aerobic instructor to a medical practitioner, in the sense of the way the body moves. So not a doctor, but a medical practitioner in body movement. And
just something a lot more in depth than just a trainer.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And even with the psychology of it, I'm not sure of the exact stats, and I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but the percentage of people entering the fitness industry, and in particular going on stage, statistics are very high in eating disorders. Yes. Because they're actually attracted to it. It gives them an excuse to be able to almost disguise it. But it's not also an excuse, it's also just, it's just an attraction, because the eating disorder is about wanting to be in control of something, right? It's not, the eating disorder really doesn't, it's not really, and I'm just speaking from my beliefs, but it's not really about wanting to be in a particular body or look a particular way. It's really about that deep-seated trauma of feeling out of control, feeling like your control's been taken away from you. So when you're controlling what you're eating, how you look, then that's gaining that control back. It's like that. It's a sense of control.
Power.
Yeah. So but generally there's quite a deep-seated trauma, so it's quite a sensitive subject. But being in the fitness industry and being on stage several times and being backstage and listening to other women, and the amount of body dysmorphia and eating disorders and psychological illnesses that came out after competing, during competing, before competing was just, it broke my heart.
There is.
It really did.
And you're right, and there are other statistics that show, and then even people we meet in the industry who come out of it, or even are within it and develop eating disorders, and again, what I like to refer to as a bad relationship with food. Whether it's a black and white approach of good, bad, and healthy, or whether again it's an eating disorder or not being able to eat mindfully or intuitively anymore, because it's all about tracking, where you become so aware of what you eat and you associate an emotion with that food, as where you think, oh, I'm eating this and that's bad, now I gotta feel bad, and obviously that's not good. Just today, actually, I was speaking to a fellow female coach, and she has become a little bit tired of all of this, and she's almost become upset and unsettled by a lot of this, especially in her realm of coaching, female specific athletes as well. And she really wants to step away from that because, she's not happy with, the state of the affairs of what's happening in the industry. And again, that's another reason why we have to step in and we have to try and provide better knowledge, because there is a way to do it that is more sustainable, flexible, enjoyable, and again, healthy and more holistic as an approach. Because, as you know, if you are getting the body into a condition which is very vulnerable, it's very optimal in terms of the way you look, not necessarily the way you're functioning. It does take a lot of dedication. It generally takes everything from you, mentally, financially, spiritually, physically. So you have to be in the right place. And again, for someone who's not quite stable in any of those realms, to go through that process,
it's very dangerous.
It is, to say the least.
It is very dangerous. So in terms of the Australian Bioscience Academy, they were able to provide knowledge and strategies on how to identify that and also support it. But going back on what you said about moving away from the fitness industry because of that, that's what's happening, where a lot of people are becoming mentally unwell or unstable, or just developing different disorders or emotions or feelings, that wanting to step away. And it's difficult, right? Because we don't want to kind of be involved in it, but we need to step up. It's people like us that need to step up and assist and educate and bridge the gap between I'm not this body and I'm the soul, and bring that together so that we can be fit and happy and healthy and strong and compete, because that's our sport, that's what we enjoy doing, but also be spiritually in alignment with who we actually are, and our bigger purpose. What is our bigger purpose?
I think that's a key word. I like the word alignment. Again, getting everything as one, so that you're not fighting against different elements. That's something I've learned the hard way personally. And again, getting everything kind of, if you want to call it, a flow state, but again, so you've got that momentum and your actions align with your beliefs and again, who you are and what you do, and then everything becomes one. Which can be a hard concept to grasp, especially I think maybe for the younger audience, but it's something that is imperative going forward. Again, to try and line everything up.
It's because if you want to achieve in anything in life, so fitness, career, family, relationships, intimate relationships, if you want to achieve in anything in life, you really need to have a higher purpose. A higher purpose than the material layer of the house and the car and the job and the clothing and the body. It's like that higher purpose.
That is the underlying definition of what will be the drivers of the success, or true success, because everything will fade away otherwise.
That's
it's like a pyramid or a building. You have to, if that foundation is not there, outright you might not be able to see the foundation sometimes, like an iceberg, most of it's underneath. that is what ultimately defines that success, which goes up. And everyone sees the external, but they don't always see the internal work that's gone in to things that are actually flourished and become successful, if you will, or something of magnitude. Yeah. And did you want to mention anything more about becoming more aware?
Yeah.
What you were saying before we move on to the next question, or something else?
Yeah, I'd like to touch more on purpose. So we throw this word around purpose, like what's my purpose and I need to follow my purpose, but what does that actually mean? And for me, it's I feel like you've almost got because we are a human and we are in this human vessel, and so we need to appreciate that, the body, appreciate it for what it is.
So before we go, and I ask you one of the main questions I ask all my guests, I want to ask some rapid fire questions, some fun facts. I want you to answer them as quick as you can without thinking. Bit of fun. Firstly, what's your favourite food? Is there anything that you can't say no to apart from chocolate?
It's not chocolate.
It's not chocolate?
It's not chocolate.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I love pizza.
Love pizza?
Yeah.
Any particular flavours?
Just all the toppings.
Okay. Nice. Just everything?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Lots of bread, lots of veggies.
Okay. Yeah. What about favourite colour? Cats choose.
Favourite colour? Aqua.
Aqua? Really? Okay. Any particular reason?
It represents quite a cool, calming sort of colour, and the ocean. I have a real connection to the ocean, personally, and especially where we're lucky to live here on the Gold Coast, their water is a beautiful aqua colour. So nice.
Resonate with that one.
Yes. That's my colour.
I am biased. And if you wake up anywhere in the world tomorrow, where would it be and why?
Wow.
I know it's a good question. What initially comes to mind? What's your gut feeling? That's the fun about these questions, just fun.
Okay. If I was to wake up tomorrow, it would be India, which I get to go there on Saturday. Yeah. So, and the reason for that is the source of the cultural, ancestral principles and information that I'm studying at the moment is from India. So I just want to be in amongst it.
That makes sense. That makes sense. That's your calling. That's where you want to be, right? And that's, again, it's aligned with your goals.
Yes.
Okay, and my last question is, what is a fear that you've had in your past that you've overcome? What was it? How did you overcome it? And how has it benefited you now?
Fear.
Might be a small one, might be a big one. Might have been that turning point that you talked about. Could be anything.
Fear. Okay. I think an important fear that I've overcome is being seen and receiving. So, and that's can be different for a lot of people.
Okay.
It could be like talking on a camera, or just sharing your knowledge, or stepping out into that career that you're so passionate about but too afraid to do. But yeah, it's really about being seen and not being afraid of the judgment, that cruelty that can come with being seen.
I think they call it trolling now, but again, it's the word criticism. You are leaving us out, which will always happen.
Yeah.
You always want to get it.
Yeah, and receiving, I think, is super important, especially in the kind of what we've kind of discussed today and the industry that we're in. We want to give a lot. You find that when you're on some kind of path or recognizing a higher purpose is that you tend to give a lot. And my biggest hurdle that I've overcome would be learning to receive.
Thank you for sharing. That makes sense. It's a valuable lesson you've obviously learned, and something that you've got a lot of meaning from in education. So I think you'll agree. guys, it's a great way to end a lovely conversation.
Yes.
Thank you for your time
Thank
once again,
you.
Amanda, and your wisdom. I really appreciate it. And again, perhaps we'll be around too where we can get in and dig a little bit deeper into some of those specifics, because I know we can talk for a long time about that. So thank you for tuning in, guys, once again.
Yes, thank you.
That is the
Thank you for having us.
Knowledge Podcast Series 3. I will put links to Amanda's social or how you can connect with her and anything that we may have talked about that's relevant in the show notes below. As always, guys, thanks for tuning in, and until next time, stay fearless.